Hey guys, this is Lindy.
I'm Russell.
From Love, Create, Celebrate. Welcome to our final video of 2020.
Which is fitting because this is where we began in 2020.
We literally have been working on this staircase for an entire year.
I mean, it wasn't the whole year, but on and off all year between projects. Yes, we were working on this. I was procrastinating.
He was procrastinating. COVID happened, delivery delays, issues with pieces that we needed. It was a lot of things all together that delayed everything over and over again, but it's finally done.
And I mean, it was worth the wait. We couldn't be happier with how it all finished.
If you have not subscribed to this channel, please hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future DIY and renovation videos. 2021 is already packed with amazing content ideas. You do not want to miss it.
This video was sponsored by DAP Canada. It was awesome that we could team up with them because there was a bunch of trim work on the stairs, and without their products, this wouldn't have been possible. We were able to use their caulking, their putty, and their adhesives to get all the trim in place and looking perfect.
We also partnered with a couple other companies that helped us complete the space, and that was Golden Select, who supplied all the flooring, and Blundell Metalworks that helped us with our new steel railing. We changed the flooring, added intred lighting, custom did all of the moldings, got a new railing, and it came together beautifully.
So let's rewind some time and go back to the beginning of 2020 where we started this whole project.
This is what our staircase looked like in January, right before we started any of these stairway renovations. The railing and the flooring both extend up the stairs and across our entire loft space, so it's going to make a huge difference when all of this gets replaced.
I'm not gonna lie, I procrastinated about this project a lot. Stair flooring is a lot of work. It's just time consuming because you have all these custom cuts. But we did our flooring, I guess this was last year, we did the main floor, and that left this turned very orange. We always knew it had like an orange tinge, but it definitely needed to be replaced once we finished our main room flooring. We decided we didn't just want to do flooring because the way this was set up, I thought we could maybe make it look a bit smoother just with how the flooring ended. And then Lindy was very much wanting to update the railing, which made my heart a little bit sad. I know how much hours my parents and my brother spent finishing this. This was all done by them, all the finish work. And I mean, this railing looks awesome. It's just not our aesthetic.
So this house was originally built by his parents. So all of the changes we do are changes to things that his parents built or started. So it has a bit of an emotional toll sometimes.
Stage one of our stair renovation was to remove all our old flooring. The old flooring, there was a 2x4 block and it came up to it on this side. The drywall came up over the 2x4 block, and then there was a cap. This is like a pine board that my dad made, and it was stained. It kind of makes this look really closed in, and we want, I think, a more open look. So what I'm doing is I'm taking these 2x4s off. The new flooring is gonna come all the way over, and then we'll have, we'll do trim. I'll miter all the edges, but then it will cover the drywall like that and come up. And then we'll have like the caps on here. I mean, this will be a little bit of a detail, but so that's kind of where I'm at. So the new post, like the drywall, the oldest steps are gonna look like this. So the new post will be an exposed steel, because I think that's the feature you want to see the rail. And then like the bottom step will come around the post, and then I'll trim it all out. And I think that will give us a really nice look. It's just a lot of work. And it's gonna be trim work, which I think Lindy wants to do all of, so.
So the best way to remove this piece, I find, is to get this lip off. So we have this piece off, so I'm going to take this nosing off and then get ready to take off this vertical piece. You can see here, this peels, but with all this glue, it's kind of a slow process. I don't know, I found the best is using this scraper, and then the pry bar to kind of go in. Sometimes once you get in, this corner is always hard because your access here is limited. But yeah, that's kind of what I found best. And once I get all these pieces off, I try and clean the glue off all these faces as best I can so I don't have any bumps, so that when I go to reinstall the new flooring, that I have as flat and flush a surface as possible. So that is how it is working.
This clip without flooring was actually from last year's home tour video. This is what the stairs looked like without any flooring on them, and now we were ready to put in our first feature of these stairs.
With all the flooring removed, we were on to stage 2, which was to install the intred lighting. The first step to installing the intred lighting was to determine where we wanted all our lights. We decided to go every other step and to have 2 lights per step. With that figured out, I could go ahead and lay out all the locations for the holes and then cut out holes at each electrical box location. Once you have all your holes cut for your LED lights, you also have to consider if you want to install sensor lighting. We wanted our lights to turn on once you walked onto the first step, so we installed 2 sensors, one at the top of the stairs and one at the bottom of the stairs to turn the lights on and off. With all the electrical boxes in place, the next step was to run wire. I first talked to some friends that were journeyman electricians just to make sure I had the right plan, but if you don't have access to electrician friends, you might want to consider outsourcing this work to ensure that it's done properly. You can see me here running all the wire and then installing the LED lights just to make sure everything worked.
Then we spent several months living without any flooring on our stairs as we waited for our railings.
Stage 3 was installing the new railing. Once we heard that the new railing was ready, we took off the old railing and prepped all the locations for the new railing base posts. Our new railing had a different post layout, and I wanted to make sure that we had a really sturdy base that these posts tied in because it's over a 20-foot span on the loft. I opened up the floor to add extra reinforcement on the underside so that when we installed the new railing, it would have a good secure base to screw to. With all the prep work done, Blundell Metalworks came with a new steel railing and installed it. We were midway through the project and we had the railing in place and the tread lighting working, and we were super excited how everything was coming together. Next, we moved on to the 4th stage, which was to install the laminate flooring. The only part of the stairs that wasn't going to be covered with flooring was the underside lip, so we quickly painted that with a coat of black paint just so it looked like a shadow. Before starting any of our cuts, we switched out all our blades to a fine-tooth blade. This allows you to get the best results in all your cuts. The majority of our cuts were done on the table saw and the miter saw. We also used the jigsaw for a few of our cuts afterwards, which we'll show you later. The next step was to install the thin vertical strips on the stairs. To do this, I used DAP construction adhesive and pin nails. The pin nail holes would all be covered by the nosing afterwards. So our next step is we have all these little pieces are glued onto the vertical faces. The next step is I have to set the nosing onto here like this. There's a little plastic strip that gets screwed to the stair face so that I can work on that. And once I get those in place, then I can floor everything. Because someone thought it was a good idea to put tread lighting in, now someone has to cut holes in all the flooring. I've come up with a system that actually doesn't go too bad. Because I have 2 lights per vertical face, and then you don't exactly know where the lights are going to end up in your flooring for like splices and stuff. I always measure, and I do this with anything, like if you have multiple holes, I always reference from one side, and then I take all my points off that because it's really easy to lay it out then, and it really eliminates the chance for error. So like here, my first line I noted is 14 1/4, then I'm 17 1/2, and then I'm 43 1/2, and then 46 3/4. So I mark that all down. So always reference one side, work your way across. And the other thing is, so you just measure, sometimes even like a small ruler would work, but you just bend your tape and you can get it in here. So I'm 1 inch off the floor. And then here, you know, the box head. I actually have a box in the garage that I use as a template because you also have these little eyes in the box. And I don't want the hole to be like up to here. I want it to be here. So I actually just take a drill bit and I drill the hole out and then I cut along these lines so it's a nice tight fit. And then that you'd have no chance of this piece not covering. And then like this goes on there, that you can't see the cut hole. So the other thing for height, I made this little block and it's actually level, or it has a bit of an angle on it. And I'll put it in, because I was measuring with this, but I was having it out and I want my flooring to be as tight into here as possible. So I take my block and then I can do it over here. I take the block and I just shove it in like that. And then I draw a line on the side and I mark it because you'll have multiple lines if you're using the same block. And then I take my measure tape, and so here it's 5 inches. And here it looks like it's 4 7/8. But I was finding that I was having gaps, and this is giving me like a really nice tight fit. With all your measurements, you can transfer them onto your piece of flooring and mark out your light box areas. Once you have your area marked out, you can drill 4 holes in the corner and then take a jigsaw and cut out the light box hole. Stage 5, which is our final stage, is to install all our trim and molding. So in order to kind of scribe, because all these stairs are a little bit different, just the way how things work, and trying to measure them and then transferring your measurements onto a board, I mean, the chances of success, I think, are pretty small. So what I did is, you can take a piece, and because my gap is bigger here, I made a bit of a spacer. So here's my line here, and then you come here for your front piece. For the bottom of the nosing, you can just use a straight edge. I have a putty knife that works pretty good. And then you're gonna cut this out and this out. I was getting an angle, kind of like this. So you cut this out and you cut this out, and then it should slide right in, and then you just make panels for each piece. And then I glued all these panels together, and then you can transfer that onto your MDF, and then you should have an exact fit. What I did is I took these individual pieces and I marked them like I showed before, and then I put them in place, and then I glued this board, and then I also held it in with a couple screws in place, and now I have an exact fit of what my molding looks like. So this, I think I obviously have to transfer it to the MDF still, but I think this worked really well. So once we get these built, we're gonna prime them and we'll paint them in the shop just so that we have minimal painting over the new flooring. And then we're gonna add caulking. We'll use the DAP molding finish stuff. It's a fast dry. We've used it on a bunch of our projects. It's awesome. Like, just for the finish, it makes it look seamless by the time you're done. It's paintable. So we'll use that in between here, and then on the top to fill in any of the little gaps or imperfections. But it's coming. I mean, half this stuff is just coming up with the system. And the reason I'm worrying about this right now is I need this in place and tight in against the wall, and then I can put my nosing on. I've taped all these just to eliminate hazards for people's feet, and also to try and protect the nosing. But then the nosing clicks in here, and then it will come around the edge, and then I have a little 90-degree, like a owl molding that will finish off the edges into the drywall on the outside wall. Taking my template that I made from inside the house, I brought that into the garage and I transferred the shape to adhesive MDF. I then cut out the shape using a jigsaw and a circular saw. We are getting ready, or we're finishing the molding install. I have to get this all done before I can put the nosing in. So the next step, we got the molding nailed and secured to the wall. And the next step is I'm using the DAP. This is crown molding. It's premium molding and trim sealant. So I'm just using it to catch some of the little gaps that I wasn't bang on the stair. I mean, from a distance, you can't even see the gaps, but I think when you're close up, you can notice it. So for the whatever 10-15 minutes it will take to caulk it, it'll give it a really nice clean finish. So I'm doing that. So what I do is I just lay like a bead down, and then DAP has these little, they're called Pro Caulk thingers. And I just use that. So what I'll do is I make it a bit wet. And I found the standard, and I just go to the start of the area where I put the caulking down. And then it gives you like a really nice clean edge, and then it's the same everywhere. So you can also use your finger. I just find this works. It's a bit less messier than your hands don't get all caulked, if that's a word. These moldings were a lot of work, but they look really sharp. So. We wanted this look from the top, and so we finished it this way. So it's going to be looking like this on the sides, which I think will actually look pretty good. I was second guessing it with my first couple, but now that I've gotten it going, and then we'll use DAP caulking just to fill in any of these gaps, and this will look seamless. We'll paint this the same color as the wall, so we don't want to draw attention to this. We want to see our nice finished treads. The way we go about that is, this is one piece, and so I cut the piece to length. I transfer it onto the wall, and then I actually, like, before I cut this out, I just cut it like this, bring out, this is just a scrap piece, and then I scribe this radius onto here. I use my Dremel Multimax to cut this way and this way. So then I just sand that down, and then it fits in nice. Then I come up, I use scrap pieces to just put all my lines in here, and then I can do my measurements on the wall. So then this sits in here like so. Then I have this little piece that goes in here, and Lindy obviously moved one of my pieces. Right, honey?
Obviously.
And then this will go here. And then I use the DAP construction adhesive to glue it, and then just my OB pin nailer, just so that I can hold it in place until the glue sets. But the pin nailer is nice because it really leaves hardly any marking on the molding. So once I paint it, this stuff, with the pin nails, you sometimes can even get away with just painting. You don't even have to putty it, but these probably will get putty because I want to get all these miters filled in. So that is the process. So once I get this all, these all done, then I'm going to start working on my nosing, which will really finish this off. Lindy was kind of debating to keep the blue because she thought she was liking it, but...
Yeah, thank you.
So that is the process. Hopefully it looks good because this is a lot of little cutting, but that I think looks pretty sharp. So I'm just showing how I'm marking all my nosing. I have the first part to the landing done. I have its system now. So what I do, I had all these tracks set when I set the flooring just to make sure my flooring was long enough. So I make a mark up here, just on the edge of the flooring, on here, and I draw a line just with a pencil. I'll wipe off once you're done all this, and then I make a mark on this side. So this is what's covering. I mean, this looks messy, but you don't have to like this, but it all gets covered by the nosing. Then I take my speed square and I make a mark like that, and then that's where my two pieces are going to intersect. So then the best way I found for measuring these and cutting these so they have a really nice fit is I slide the piece into the groove, and then I mark where my 45 comes on the edge and mark it on here, and then that's what I cut to. I found this is the best way and the fastest way and the nicest way to get my perfect 45-degree miter. And then I slide it back out. And then I mark the little guy. You can't do them both at the same time because they are both too long, so they conflict in the space. But then I mark this one, again, just on the 45 there. And if anything. And then when you cut these, I go a little bit on the larger side. You can always work into the cut, but if you cut it too short, you have to start all over again. So then I take this guy off, and then I cut them to length on the miter saw, and then it fits like this. When it comes to gaps in your miter joints, there's some products online that you can try out. However, what we found works best is actually just a crayon. I used a crayon to fill in the gaps, and then a little bit of heat from a heat gun, and then a scrub pad to wipe any excess crayon away. With all the trim in place, we quickly filled in any of the defects with DAP spackling and DAP caulking, and gave it a quick coat of paint to finish it all off.
We started this project in January, finished it in December, and even though it took a whole year, we are so proud of how these stairs look and how this entire project came out.
If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and let us know what you think of the finished renovation in the comments below. And as always, hit that bell so you can be notified of more great DIY and home renovation projects. It's so fitting that this is our final video of 2020 because this entire year encompassed the stair project. We started the year with it and finished the year, and it's been a crazy year. I'm so grateful for all of you guys for following along. I hope you like our final project.
So 2021 is gonna have some pretty crazy content. We're gonna have some exciting news, so make sure you're following us on Instagram and you'll hear what's happening in the new year. We're gonna have a couple room renos. We're gonna be doing some stuff with the outside of the house. It's gonna be packed with awesome content. So you definitely need to subscribe and continue watching. Thanks. Let's hop in the DeLorean and go back in time and check where we started at the beginning of 2020.